So since it's Palm Sunday, I thought I'd share a couple things that I thought were interesting at my church. Shout out if you're from my church, you know me. You know, if you're Hope City Church, love you. Anyways, it's interesting because they had a dramatization of Palm Sunday. You know that verse where it says, "Oh, do not stop the little ones from coming to me, for the kingdom is unto people like this." And it's children, right? So the idea is like you have to have childlike faith to receive the kingdom. To enter the kingdom, you have to have childlike faith. So if you want to give a child something, he'll receive it, right? If you want to give him a toy, candy, kids would receive it. They don't ask questions why. They just, okay, right? Here's the idea. And I've always wondered, and Jesus placed his hand upon them, like, have you seen when people place their hands on others and pray for them, right? And impart a blessing over them, right? Impartation. Here's the thing, all right? Those little children, I've always wondered, how did he bless them? I don't know about you guys, but I've gone to churches where it's like, Lord, I pray that you bless this man, and you start praying something totally irrelevant. It can't even be embarrassing. You know what I mean? Because, some people will fake the funk. And don't get me wrong, I love prayer. But sometimes it can be embarrassing. But, this is what's interesting to me. I've always wondered, what did he pray over those children? What did he impart over them? Because, the laying on of hands and, praying over them. But remember, they're children. Us, even though we're not so childlike on the earth, right? We find delight, pleasure in his presence, peace in his presence, right? So here's the thing, if those children love Jesus, right? Which obviously, when Jesus is in the room, right? And if you acknowledge him, and they're Jewish, so they listen to the books of the Bible being read to them. If you remember, I think John said, in the book of John, I believe the sons of Zebedee are like, oh, guess what? We found, it's in the Gospels. They basically say, oh, look, hey, we found who Moses and the prophets wrote about, right? This is where it gets interesting. They're not actually scholars. They're just Jewish. They just go to church every Sunday, get entire books of the Bible read to them, right? They're not actually your A squad scholar Jewish people. Brought up in culture and doctrine of Judaism, right? They're not. They're just fishermen. They might have a 3rd grade education. This is where it gets interesting. I've always wondered, what did the Lord bless them with, right? What did he impart into them? Because he places his hand on them and he blessed them, it says, right? Here's the thing. If they're children and they delighted in him, right? Doesn't that mean he gave them the desires of their heart? Have you ever asked for someone to pray for you and they completely miss, they didn't even shoot in the general trajectory direction of what you needed prayer for, right? With your most generic of prayers, right? What if he hit everything? Is it possible that Jesus can hit everything with one prayer, with one blessing? Because he is God, right? But if it's God, wouldn't he want everything to the max for them? They're children. I believe, and I truly believe this, that when Jesus blessed the kids and he placed his hand on them, right? And he blessed the children that he told his disciples not to stop from coming to him. I believe, as the Bible says in Psalms, delight yourself in the Lord and he'll give you the desires of your heart. I believe he gave each and every single one of those children the desires of their heart. Correct me if I'm wrong. Ask the Lord, comment. You feel me? But ask the Lord, because I truly believe when the Bible says that he blessed them, I think he blessed them with everything. Because like it says in the New Testament, right? That we already have everything we need. That we have already been blessed, like Paul wrote, with every spiritual blessing in the heavenly realms. We've already been blessed with all of it. So, Is it possible that Jesus did not miss the mark when praying over the children and actually hit everything they could ever want? All in just the laying on of hands. Because I truly believe that he literally gave each and every single one of those kids their whole heart's desire. Everything before, everything past, to their present, into their now. That he blessed them with everything. And I'm not going to lie, I truly believe that. But, ask the Lord and, tell me what you hear. But I truly believe that's what he blessed them with.